Welcome to Sketching Up, the holiday episode of Sketching Up. We have a special guest with us. Been on the podcast, I think, a couple times in its history. Although I don't know if he even knew we started going again. We started rolling again. We're a couple episodes deep now. Joe
Listen,
Brown is here.
I got my my notifications, my sub notifications going.
So
I'm
you
aware.
see him popping up. You see them popping
Yeah, and
up.
I do I swipe on by.
But Matt is out sick. So I know nobody just wants to listen to me talk the whole time, especially not around the holidays. It's sad enough sometimes. You don't want to just hear me talking. It's dead air here. So I invited Joe on. He was grateful enough and graceful enough to come join us again. Joe, how you doing? I feel like I haven't actually chatted with you in a little while. We chat here and there, but I haven't sat down and had a conversation with you. And I can't think of any other way for us to sit down and have a conversation than on air in front of people.
I agree. Yeah, there's no better way. It's always magic when we're together on a pod of any variety. But yeah, I'm doing well. I'm home visiting my family for the holidays. I think that's a phrase, home for the holidays, right? Everyone
Home for the
says that.
holidays, yep,
Yep.
it's there.
So I've been having fun, been you know, doing some fun things back in Jersey, having a good time, and here through Christmas. So it'll be fun.
How is the OHKO podcast treating you? I think the last time we even talked really about the OHKO podcast when you guys came on Mad Props,
Yeah.
at least on the airwaves. We've talked off air many times about OHKO, but the fans want to know, how's OHKO going?
The fans need to know how OHKO is doing. I think we're doing really well. I think we just crossed over 3,500 subscribers, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, which it's slow and steady wins the race. I think we've
And
been
100 episodes, right?
and 100 episodes just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, beginning of November, I want to say, maybe a couple weeks into November. So I think that's like a pretty good track record if we have done, 100 episodes in like 130 weeks or something like that. We've had some bumps for our weekly podcast, missing 15% of the weeks or whatever the number is, but we're trying to get there. And everyone in the community, we're always growing. We have a draft league where our viewers are like playing in a VGC draft league now, and the news is always coming out. New Pokemon game. I don't know if you gotten a chance to play
I
Legends
have
EA
not.
or not, but there's usually good topics going on for the pod.
I am very much considering getting it with the position I'm currently working, which we do not talk about on the podcast. It leaves me little time to actually sit down and play. Although I will say, playing basketball badly rolled my ankle
Oh,
last night as recording this. I didn't get to sit around and play games all day or anything like that. But after I got done working from home, I got to sit down, played a little Odyssey, which I haven't played in forever. You know what I've been playing again? It must be the holidays. Is Animal Crossing. Got back into Animal
oh,
Crossing.
love
I
Animal Crossing.
I did something most people don't do. I reset the whole thing, started from scratch.
But what about all your upgrades and
All
stuff?
that, it's all gone. I did it. I restarted the whole. It took me 3 days to make that decision. I'm not gonna lie. I sat there for 3 days, like, should I actually do this? Should I actually do this? And yeah, I was like, it because the thing with Animal Crossing is once you kind of have the museum was basically full, everything was accomplished.
Yeah.
So it's like everything's accomplished. There's not much to do, but I do want to play. The reason I really got back into it is because I always have my headphone in with some lo-fi beats. The lo-fi Animal Crossing, not much beats it. So it
Yes.
got me
Yeah.
back into playing it. And yeah, I
I
reset everything. I'm back from the jump.
I actually don't know if you remember or not, but when we were in college, when I was working for the communication department, I installed an extension on the computers that had the accurate timing Animal Crossing music. I don't know if you remember this or not, but like it was an extension you had on Google Chrome or whatever, or Safari, whatever we used back then. That like as the time of day, it would play
The
that
time of day.
equivalent from the Animal
That's
Crossing.
amazing.
So if we were in the studio at 3:42 PM, it played the 3 PM Animal Crossing, and you could choose from the different games. And then when it would cross over to 4, it would transition into the 4 o'clock song. And like we just had that playing just as background noise in the studio.
Now, I probably can't answer this because I'd have to remember all the times. Do you have a favorite time song? I think 1 o'clock is the people's favorite. I feel like anytime I listen to a compilation, it always starts off with it, or if you just listen to Nintendo, it's always in there.
Yeah.
1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and I think 6 o'clock are always in the mix.
So that's what I was gonna say. I don't remember every song off the top of my head. I feel like I know the KK Slider songs more than the time songs. But from my memory, 3 o'clock's a banger. I'd have to go
3 o'clock
back
is a banger.
and listen to it to confirm that bias. But off the top of my head, I'm going 3 o'clock.
I also, with my lo-fi beats, because I've now done the lo-fi Nintendo Christmas mix, which is like holiday mix, whatever. It's great. Yoshi's Yarn.
Oh, so good.
The lo-fi mixes of that.
Yep.
There is one winter one. I can't remember the name of it, but it's from Yoshi's I think it's Yoshi's Epic Yarn, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can literally listen to it on repeat all day. It's so good. It's like it hits Nintendo on the head, but also hits like holiday on the head. I absolutely love it.
I mean, all the winter Nintendo songs, right? You think about the snow songs from like Mario 64 and Animal Crossing and Yoshi, like just the whole Yoshi series is so underrated, especially
It is.
the music.
So are the older ones as well. Like one of my favorite Nintendo songs all time comes from this series, but the newer Kirby's have some bangers as well that I've now been discovering more and more as I listen to these lo-fis.
But I was going to say that one of my favorite gaming Christmas memories that I had was I was in middle school, I believe, and it was Animal Crossing City Folk on the Wii, which is my favorite Animal Crossing. I played every single one of them, but to me, City Folk was far and away my favorite. And it was me and my sister. We were playing every day, and we on Christmas Eve, like not stayed up because we were like 12 years old. You could make it to midnight, right, as a 12-year-old. But we stayed up, quote unquote, to play Animal Crossing on Christmas Eve at midnight because there were the rumors that they had Santa Claus and stuff. And now we know that there's like the reindeer Santa in Animal Crossing. But at that time in like 2007 or whatever, we didn't know what it was. And so like we stayed up, we were walking around and you see the big bag and you run into their version of Santa Claus. And like we were just popping off. Like we knew it was going to happen.
It's so funny because, Nintendo for decades has been able to, like Animal Crossing and Mario, and they're just able to make games that anyone can enjoy, which you think is like kind of simple, but it's not, because PlayStation, it's like it's either too kid down or it's too adult. Like there's some in betweens, but everything Nintendo puts out is like anyone can play it, anyone can enjoy it. And they're all usually about the same game. They don't really change too much in any of their games. Yeah, we still pay for it. It's funny, like when Madden just does that every single year, we're like, I'm not going to pay for it again. But when Mario's saving Peach for the 900th time, we're like, I'm buying that the second it comes out. I don't care.
You have to understand, Chris. In one, Mario has Cappy that has abilities, and in the other, Donkey Kong has Pauline that gives him abilities depending on what it's totally different.
Totally different. He has Cappy, but in the other ones, his cap just transforms to give him abilities. It's not that he has a Cappy, but he has things on his cap. Just it's all different. It's all different.
But they're all 10 out of 10s. I don't care.
Going off the holiday, it's not going to stay with the theme. It's not going to stay with the video game theme for a second, because I want to see if you can get this question that I have for you. Been saving this one. I'm really excited for it. All right. I'm going to name some artists, musicians. You're going to tell me what they all have in common. Okay?
Okay.
Elvis Presley, Green Day, Marvin Gaye, Jimi Hendrix, Queen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Who, Tupac Shakur, Lenny Kravitz, Linkin Park, and Maroon 5. Long list. So they all have something in common, though.
When you first presented it, I thought, okay, easy slam dunk. This is going to be all these artists have a Christmas album. or something like that.
That could be something, but it's not what I'm
Right.
thinking.
And so obviously the more names you added, then I'm like, wait, is it that none of these artists have ever recorded a Chris? It's like,
Well, I started with Elvis, so that's wrong.
None of the
one of the
above
most famous ones
in a test. Exactly. They have all right, I'm going to lock in my incorrect answer, but I'm going to lock in they have all performed at like the New Year's Eve, Dick Clark's New Year's Rocket Eve special in New York City. I don't know.
So you can take as many guesses as you want because I know you're not going to get it, but you're going to enjoy the answer. Okay. All of them have less, except for one that has the same amount of Grammys as Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Honestly, deserved. You know what I mean?
Elvis Presley, Marvin Gaye, Jimi Hendrix, Queen, Red Hot Chili Peppers, The Who, Tupac, Lenny Kravitz, Maroon 5, Linkin Park, all have less Grammys than Alvin and the Chipmunks. Green Day have the same amount of Grammys. Now, I will give you double points if you can guess the amount of Grammys that Alvin and the Chipmunks currently have.
There's got to have been like 4 or 5 movies at this point, right? So I'm trying to think, and then you got the TV shows.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go, and Green Day's been around for a long time, right?
I'll give you two questions if you want some extra points. I'll give you that, and if you could tell me the year that Alvin and the Chipmunks was invented, we'll have the full on Alvin and the Chipmunks.
All right,
questionnaire.
My first guess will be Alvin and the Chipmunks was invented in 1972.
Okay, you would be wrong. It's one of these two dates. I can't remember off the top of my head. I don't have it in front of me because I just thought of that on the spot. Like, should I ask him the year? It was either 1953 or 1958.
Oh my God. I did not expect that at all.
Yes. Do you want to take a guess on the Grammys?
I'm going to go, because I feel like Green Day's probably won a couple in their day. I'm going to go 5 Grammys.
5 is the correct answer.
Let's go!
That Alvin and the Chipmunks and Green Day both have. They both have 5 Grammys. Let me say that again. Alvin and the Chipmunks have 5 Grammys.
I'm a music connoisseur. I'm a chipmunk connoisseur. What can I say?
Don't know that much about music, but when it comes to chipmunks, you can ask me anything. I will Chip and Dale, Alvin and the Chipmunks. That's really it, but I will get you the answers.
I'm happy I got partial credit. I got 50%.
You did. Well, I guess you 33% because there are 3 questions. Right?
We're not talking about it.
Whatever. I just thought that'd be a fun one to bring on because I just couldn't. First of all, I couldn't believe that Alvin and the Chipmunks started in the 50s.
Yeah, that's crazy. I did not expect that.
When you start researching why they started in the 50s, it makes sense. They were like a gimmick act for kids. So they did like, I've been working on the railroad and stuff like that. Like, they weren't like, now they're like all cover songs. But back then it was covering all kids songs. Like, that's literally what the gimmick was. Now, believe it or not, it was either the late 50s, early 60s. They made their first TV appearance.
Okay, so that's what I'm thinking of is TV, yeah.
Yes, they made the first TV appearance on one of the 2 late night shows. It was a late night show. It was a live appearance, by the way. This is not a TV show. It was a live appearance. They were puppets. They were puppeteered, and the guy that created them was there, what is it, Dave? I think is the what is the
the guy, the dad,
the guy, whatever, the dad that they're talking to, that was him, and that's he was there basically doing the song and whatever. But in the late 50s is the first time they're on TV. Now, when I first saw this, I thought that it was like an 80s TV show. Like, that's what I always thought. I thought it was like, oh, they created for an 80s TV. It makes so much sense to do that. Like, no, 1950s. They're still going today with the Squeakquel and other chipmunk puns in the title. I can't think off the top of my head, but I thought that'd be a fun. And it's the holidays because they do have one of the more known Christmas songs with Christmas Don't Be Late, which is not the name of the song. It's literally just called the Chipmunk Song. It's not called Christmas Don't Be Late. It's called the Chipmunk Song. For all of you that are looking it up on Spotify right now, don't look it up yet. Listen to the podcast first. Then go listen to that.
You can listen to
Anyway,
the podcast on Spotify.
yeah, listen. No, I don't care if you listen to our podcast on Spotify, but don't go off of it to listen. Or if you do, at least come back and hear what else we have to say. I understand. Go listen to the Chipmunks. Go. What's funny is
do what your heart desires.
Do what your heart desires, which is listen to Chipmunks over. I understand. What's funny is I don't know why I went on this big because we were rewatching. Mary and I were rewatching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the newer version, which that movie is just so good. It's such a banger. And I think he says Alvin and the Chipmunks or something like that. And I kind of just went into a deep dive, or it was either that or it was brought up like, what's a TV show? And you can even answer this question if you want. What's a TV show that you have really fond memories of, but you can't recall a single episode of?
Oh, I think it is. I feel like there's so many, right? Because when you're a kid, you love enjoy. Like, I can't remember exact plot points of Tom and Jerry besides like, Jerry besting him or whatever, right? But like,
Yeah.
I still look back on that show, like even when you watch now, like from those old episodes, I don't know if it was the 50s or 60s, I don't have my trivia ready for the Tom and Jerry era.
Of course.
But like even looking back now, those are like really funny, creative, situational comedy bits where they can't use talking, right? They have to creatively get a narrative out without words. And like I almost appreciate that comedy more now than I did as a kid because of how difficult that must have been creatively.
Yeah. And it's again, we're going back to like we just talked about Mario and Madden. It's the same concept every time, but it still draws you in because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
So it just shows if it's not broke, don't fix it. But when I brought that up, I was like, when I was young, we watched it a lot at my grandparents' house. I don't know why it was. Maybe it was we had it on VHS or something. I remember the theme song like back of my hand. Like that one I remember. It's super catchy and stuff like that. But I could not even tell you. Like at least in Tom and Jerry, I could tell you like, yeah, Tom chases Jerry, blah, blah. I don't even know what they did in Alvin the I assume they sang. But like
They
other
sang,
than that,
got into hijinks.
yeah, but like I couldn't even name a hijinks other than probably what's on the theme song. I don't even know if they did any of that stuff on the theme song. Yeah. I forgot that there were the female versions in that cartoon. I knew they were in the movies.
But
in the cartoon, they're in the cartoons. That's what I'm saying. Like I didn't know any of this stuff, so I went on this big deep dive of Alvin the Chipmunks. That's how I learned all this stuff, including the 5 Grammys, which still blows my mind. 5 Grammys for Alvin the Chipmunks. Tupac has 0. Tupac doesn't have a single.
That's tough.
Lenny Kravitz has 0.
That's tough.
That's tough. But then I went on this deep dive. This whole story is going to have a loop around. The reason I brought this up. But then like when I'm reading about Alvin and the Chipmunks, they're like naming songs. Like the first song I ever had Alvin and the Chipmunks was Witch Doctor cover, which is the song goes like ooh ooh ah ding ding. Yeah, that song. They covered that song. The guy that originally sang that song is the one that created Alvin and the Chipmunks. I guess.
Okay.
So I won, and then I didn't know what they kept saying. Witch Doctor, Witch Doctor, Witch Doctor. So I went to go listen to it, and then I was putting songs that I was reading on Spotify. So then I was listening to a curated playlist from Spotify and it was fine. I'm listening. I'm going to play basketball. I'm listening as I'm pulling into the basketball center. Just an Alvin and the Chipmunks, I've been working on the railroad just pops on. And it won't turn off. Like I'm skipping. I deleted the whole app. It just kept playing. Like, what is going on? These guys, first time I ever played basketball with these people, I'm pulling in. I've been working on the railroad by Alvin and the Chipmunks, blasting in my speakers as I'm rolling up. But that's where the story led to. That now Spotify thinks I'm a huge. That's all it wants to listen to. That AI one I will use sometimes. So like, I don't know what I want to listen to. I'll just hit the AI player on Spotify. Alvin the Chipmunks now comes on. First song.
The algorithm's never wrong, Chris.
Yeah, no. You could, God forbid you're looking. That's why I do the YouTube now. I just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Then I don't care if the algorithm's messed up because I'll just
you gotta have a properly curated Spotify list. You can't have songs interact with your Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year.
Yeah. This year it was nice to see my Spotify Wrapped. Last year, and I put this on one of the podcasts. You weren't on it, so you don't know this, but I put it on one of my other ones. Someone hacked my Spotify account and played some Middle Eastern artist. It
I
must have
had
been
the
like
same
one
thing
of
happen to me a couple years ago.
like 2,000 times. So like at Spotify Wrapped, my top 10 songs were like all this
Some random
weird
guy, yeah.
Middle Eastern guy I've never heard of. So that was, I didn't really get a Spotify Wrapped, although I don't really pay attention to. I did look at my age. Did you look at your age?
I looked at my age, and it was funny because I was kind of for most this year, I was using my Spotify as like a group Spotify, and so people were
Mhm.
playing other songs and things, right? So the stats are a little distorted, but the one thing that we as a group always played was ABBA songs, just like get the party going, get the people going.
Yeah.
So my Spotify age was 64 years old.
Oh,
But
I was older than you. I was 65.
oh, okay.
I had a
Well,
big Billy Joel year this year. Big Billy Joel year. So
okay.
it'll get you there.
Yeah.
It'll get you to that age, because he's what, 80 now?
He's still
Gotta be
kicking.
close. He's still kicking barely, apparently, he's got something wrong with his head right now. That's why he stopped
Oh,
touring.
no.
He stopped doing the MSG show. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
sick or not, but he stopped doing the MSG show because he had like a stroke or something like that.
Oh.
Prayers up for Billy Joel. We love Billy Joel. Or I do. We don't know
Yeah.
if Joe does. He didn't say
I'm a
he
big
does
fan.
or any. He
I'm a
didn't
big
say
fan.
it. No, I haven't heard anything. He hasn't
Big
said
fan
if
of
he does or
Billy.
not. Big fan of Billy. Prayers up for Billy Joel. We want to make sure that he makes it so we can see him again and stuff like that. Anyway, going off top. Does Billy Joel have a Christmas album, by the way?
He's
I feel
got
that's a
at this
big
point.
that's a big miss. That's a big miss if he does it. But I don't ever remember hearing a Christmas song by Billy Joel.
I don't know. Maybe we're just in the moment. We'll look it up on Spotify and it'll
Yeah, and then
maybe you'll get Alvin off of your AI and get some Billy Joel Christmas.
Because he wanted a Grammy, he did a collaboration with Alvin and the Chipmunks because they are multi-Grammy winning.
There's a clear path of success
Yeah.
here, and it's to collaborate.
By the way, you were saying how they had the movies and stuff. None of the Grammys are from that time. They're all from the 50s and 60s.
Really? Okay.
Yes, all from the 50s and 60s, and nothing, not even a nomination after that. Couple Nickelodeon Kids Choice Awards that here and there, but nothing crazy. Nothing crazy after that. Anyway, after all that, let's try to like reel back into the podcast. This has become an Alvin and the Chipmunks podcast.
Yeah.
Which I guess isn't a bad thing. We got a niche. I don't know how many people are in that niche. I do got one more thing. So when I looked into it and I listened to the theme song again, for some reason I listened to it like at least 20 times straight. I kept bringing it back because I'm trying to unlock that memory of watching the show. Like I can't believe how much I watched as a kid. I don't remember anything other than the theme song. Don't even remember the characters in it. I couldn't name any. Now I told you the female characters were in it. Other than the three of them, and I think his name's Dave, but the dad. Who else is in the show? Like I don't even know. Like,
dude, I mean,
Tom and Jerry can tell you there's the bulldog and
right, the girl dog,
the Jamaican lady.
I think another show's like I don't know if Alvin Chipmunk was back to back on the TV shows or channels when we were kids with it, but like Alvin Chipmunk has very Garfield vibes as well. To
I
me,
don't even remember watching Garfield,
and so that's what I'm trying to say. Like Garfield is so iconic, and he had the movie. He's in the like everyone eats lasagna and hates Mondays or whatever. But like, I can't think of anything that happened in a Garfield episode except for like him being mad at the dog existing. Like dog's just vibing.
Odie,
Garfield's upset.
Right?
Yeah,
Odie. What's the owner's name? You remember?
You got me.
I feel like that's Dave too.
It could be.
Everybody's just Dave.
Dave and Alan or something like that. I have no idea. But like I remember watching Garfield cartoons as a kid. I don't remember a single plot point.
We're in a day and age, and this is gonna be a future sketching up. You're more than welcome to join on this one as well. We've talked about a couple of the last ones, but we're going to talk about more like Cartoon Network animation, like where it's going, how it's just kind of retreads. Even now, like they have 4 new shows and only one is an original that's coming out like in the near future. They have an Adventure Time reboot. They have a regular show reboot, and they have, I think it's a Tom and Jerry reboot. I think those 3 they're rebooting. So we're going to talk about that. But in an age of reboots, could you imagine Garfield doesn't exist, right? And someone comes in and they're like, I'm going to make a cartoon I know it's comic strip first, but they're like, I'm gonna make a cartoon about a cat. This cat hates Mondays and loves lasagna.
Yeah.
They would be like, get out. We're not taking this one.
Yeah,
Get
because
out.
it's just not the other cliches with cats, right? Of like either fish or eating mice or drinking milk or whatever. Like those are the things we
Apparently,
think
drinking milk is
of.
actually not even
It's
a
very
cat
bad
thing.
for them, but
Yeah,
blame
it's
that on
like
blame
bad
that
for
on
a cat.
cartoons. Think about all the cats that have been sick over the last 100 years because of cartoons having cats drinking milk in them. That's not our fault.
I saw Tom smoking a cigarette, so I popped one in my cat's mouth. I thought they liked it. Cartoons warped my mind. I saw him do it. I was like, oh, they must like doing this, dressing up like sheriffs and smoking cigarettes. Is that not what cats do? I would never know. I'd have no way of learning.
Yeah, I don't get
cats.
where they got lasagna from as a cat.
That's what I mean.
food.
Like they would be like, who let this guy in the building?
Yeah.
Lasagna. Like,
I
it's not even
understand
a popular
the Monday
food.
because he's lazy, right? Like Garfield
Yeah.
is lazy; he doesn't want to do things, so therefore he doesn't like Mondays. But yeah, maybe there's some historical context about the lasagna that we're missing.
I think it's just because he started the comic strip in like 1967, and they're like, you don't really have to have much of a plot. Just give us anything.
Yeah, it's only
Was it
4
Chuck
panels
Schultz?
this week.
Just give us something, It's 4 panels. You got cat, you got Mondays, you got lasagna. Just fill in that last one. We're golden.
Yeah.
Boom. We'll go from there. Have you ever seen the dark one of that? Like where like Garfield's actually like starving or something like that?
No.
So it's a comic strip from the original run, and it's like a regular strip, but at the end, it's like Garfield just alone in this room, and it was all imagined, and it was just really weird. It was a really weird take on it. Yeah, I'll have to send it to you.
Oh my god,
very weird.
You can get away with anything back then, man.
Yeah, you can. Like literally whatever you want, especially in a comic strip. Like whatever. Like
yeah.
It's gonna happen, and then they're just gonna let it out. Whatever. Make some news. Make some news in the newspaper, which now we don't even have. That's why there's comic strips. Unfortunately, comics are now more made to even strips are made to just become TV shows. So they're just not. They're not doing what they got to do or anything like that. Let's reel it back in again. Reel it back in. This is twice. We're already 2 times. This
is a big swordfish we're trying to reel in here.
Yes. I actually want to ask you about the Pokemon, like the new game, what's going on with Pokemon. I know it's not as holiday related, but every time I have you on, you're the guy that updates me on all this stuff. I try to play the games. I try to keep up. I'm even wearing my hat today.
I'm wearing my shirt.
This is it's a very used hat at this point because I've worn it a lot in my life. When I was freelancing, every shoot I went to, I wore this hat. This was my freelancing hat back in the day. No longer doing that though. So give us some updates on Pokemon. Also give us some updates on how the broadcasting and stuff has been going for you.
Yeah, so the latest game came out back in October, Pokemon Legends ZA. And if you remember X and Y Generation 6 back on the 3DS, we were in college when that one came out, where they're in Kalos, which is based on France. So you had a lot of French design and outfits and Pokemon and art and things like that. So this is a sequel-ish to that, hard to explain. But basically the story is this game, Legends ZA, takes place 5 years after X and Y did. And back in X and Y, they introduced Mega Evolution. For anyone who hasn't seen that, that's the Mega Charizard, Mega Lucario, Mega Kangaskhan, right? Where the Pokemon Mega evolve one extra time, get increased stats, change their abilities, change their design and everything. Far and away, including myself, my favorite mechanic that Pokemon has ever made is Mega Evolution compared to Z moves or Dynamax or Terastallization, things like that in the later generations. So the good news in Legends EA is they've made like 50 more Mega Evolutions or something like that through the base game and the DLC that just launched recently.
There was one that a design people didn't like or something like that, right?
There's definitely a lot of designs that some people don't like. I think Game Freak can be very hit or miss depending on your audience.
Putting the freak in Game Freak.
You're like Chris. And so that's basically what the new game is it's focusing on all these new Mega Evolutions. And for the actual competitive game, we're kind of in a waiting period for some point early next year for Pokemon Champions to come out. If you've seen the news on that, that's going to be a game that is both on Switch and mobile, where you can play the competitive official circuit VGC on your phone playing in game and stuff instead of having to play in Scarlet and Violet or in a previous game or whatever. And so we all know that the Pokemon from Legends ZA are going to be brought into Pokemon Champions, and that'll be our next competitive official format. But we don't know when that's going to start at this point. So we're kind of just in a waiting period.
Yes, and we've talked about that where it's supposed to release somewhere around when, or it's projected to release or rumored to release somewhere around when the circuit starts back up for competitive Pokemon, right? So
Yeah.
people are like getting ready because that's going to be the one that is competitive and they're going to have to learn things right away. So is the one that just came out more like Legends Arceus, right?
Yeah.
That came out. It's more like in that realm where it's very open world. You're not like the base model of it. It was more like an open world model of it.
Yeah, definitely. It's more open world. You're running around. The Pokemon can attack you, right? Like they could in Legends
Mhm.
Arceus. You're actually throwing to catch them. It's not turn-based in the traditional Pokemon sense where you just stand there and it's my turn, then it's your turn, my turn, then your turn. There's more active time battling to it where like certain attacks have a certain duration. So like let's say you click Ice Beam and Ice Beam takes 7 seconds for the entire animation and attack to come through, right? And then the bar comes up versus someone who clicks Quick Attack, which Quick Attack only takes 3 seconds for the animation. So there are some attacks that like if you want to wait longer, if you want to, Hydro Pump takes like 13 seconds as you stand there and get ready. But if you get the attack off, it's absolutely massive damage
Mhm.
compared to something cheaper like Quick Attack or Swift or Bullet Punch or something like that. And so the gameplay is different. I think that's what Legends Arceus and Legends ZA it can deter some Pokemon fans, especially who have not played recent Pokemon games, because it is very jarring how different moving around and dodge rolling and all these things are. But me as avid Pokemon fan, like I've really enjoyed it. I like ZA a lot more than I liked Arceus, so I think they iterated a lot on those babies first steps that they took in Arceus and made things a little more fair, a little more fun, and less of a drag than some of the missions in Arceus were. So overall, I think I gave it when it came out. We reviewed it on the pod. I think I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. It's not my favorite Pokemon game of all time, but there's definitely other ones that are worse.
What do you use? Do you use Pokeballs, 8.5 Pokeballs out of 10, or do you use a different
I guess
Pokemon standard?
we didn't scale what we were using. I
Oh,
just said it out loud.
just bring me on to help you console. What are we using as the barometer here? It's gotta be Pokemon themed. This is a
That's true.
Pokemon themed podcast.
8.5 Pikachus, and just one
You cut a
disastrous.
Pikachu in half?
Yeah. Hey, you know what?
Now,
If some of the battles are better, that Pikachu would have lived. It would have been a 9.
you cut them in half from the top or you cut them from the waist?
Top, obviously.
And then is it a 50-50 split or are you just kind of you eyeballing it?
I'm not like putting a marker down Pikachu's, back and line it up. I'm going with
Not
the
50-50
feel.
then. You're
Yeah.
just going with the feel. I'm going with the feel, baby. This is what I feel is 50. Cut it right down.
I have
I'll
elite
probably have to
precision.
I'll have to look into that one because I liked Arceus. I didn't think it was it's not like my favorite Pokemon game of all time, but I actually liked the how different it was and
Yeah.
how like new it was in the sense of it's not the same turn-based game kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that. So I'll have to been meaning to play it, but I just haven't had the second to sit down and do it. But now I'm starting, almost that time where I'll have a lot more time. So
Yeah.
I'll download it just so the new one can come out 3 days later. So that'd be great. And then I'll just
Yeah,
have both of
if
them
you could
have to
download
play.
it as fast as possible so that the new game could come out as fast as possible, we'd
I got
appreciate
you.
that.
I
Yeah.
got you. I'll do it in the middle of this podcast. So we have breaking news. I downloaded it. So now the new one is officially out.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, it coming out well past the holidays, games just don't seem to come out at the holidays anymore. I don't know if this is because they're all online now. I don't know if it's just like development. I mean, look at like GTA is just taking years and years and years. Even something like this, like Pokemon doesn't come out every 2 years, 3 years. Like a version of it might, but the main games take a long time. It's been what 7, 8 years since a 3D Mario. It's been since Odyssey.
Yeah,
just
Odyssey, yeah.
2017, 2018, somewhere around there. So you're not really seeing as many of these main launches. But what do we think is the reason that we just don't see games coming out at the holidays? It just seems like the great marketing ploy. Like put it out by Black Friday, have the parents buy it and get it for the kids.
I think that's probably the simplest answer is probably the most right answer is that most games are releasing now in October and November so that they can kind of have multiple bumps, right? You can have the release window bump of everyone who is a big fan of it buying it right away, and then you're also giving parents a couple weeks to figure out what games are coming out that their kids are seeing their friends have at school and whatever, right? So you can see, like for example, most Pokemon games come out in November recently, but that used to not be how it was in English, at least back in the day. Back in our day, Chris, most Pokemon games came out in the spring because they were being translated from Japanese. So it took a
Yeah.
couple of months for it. So if you remember growing up, and I remember growing up, a lot of March and spring, and then obviously the original Pokemon red and blue, or green, but how we have it here came out in February, right? So that was a conscious decision that even Pokemon made was to stop those spring early releases and put them towards the end of the year. And we can see over the last 4 or 5 generations, the sales are, astronomical because you get people to buy Legends Arceus or Legends ZA, let's say, in October, and then they all bought it again, or the ones that didn't get it yet bought it on Black Friday, or they bought the Switch bundles for Christmas upcoming, right? So you're from a marketing sense, I guess it makes more sense to have multiple big hits than like what we used to have.
I do feel like we see a lot of the big releases, not just talking Pokemon, let's just talk overall, like March and May recently. I feel like a lot of those games, like you see, they're coming out right before the summertime. I have a theory of why, if you'd like to hear it. But I still think, even with this theory, like Christmas is just a better time to do it. But the theory is most of these games that come out, if a kid wants it, they're going to get it in some way, shape, or form, right?
Yeah.
Put it out in March or May, right before summer break, that gives the whole summer to play it. You're gonna have somebody on that game more. It might be anticipated because you'll have that time to play it. Like, you're not gonna be there's no school, there's no after school, there's none of this stuff. Like, you just have the whole summer to sit down and play that game if you want. I feel like that's why you see a lot more of those spring releases, especially ones geared toward grade school and, well, I guess, in lower, but grade school is lower. It's from whatever to whatever. But that's what I feel like, because I do feel like when you see like the Nintendo Directs, that's what you're seeing. Like March, May, August, and then like October, November are those are like the dates that you see mostly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to it. I don't know how a lot of the other developers make their decisions on it, but definitely when it comes from a Nintendo perspective, they really do um that March through October window, that half of the year is more important to them for the releases, and it's usually a lot of the same series that have releases in that time frame, like Donkey Kong Bonanza came out in July, right? And previous Donkey Kong games have also been over the summer. I know a lot of Yoshi games have been in like May or something like that.
Same with Kirby. Kirby's
Kir-
usually March, May,
Kirby,
and Yoshi's usually
yeah,
March, May.
both of the Breath of the Wild games were in the spring, right? Compared to
Hmm.
the October releases that like Mario Odyssey and stuff had. So maybe it's just a cycle thing because Nintendo is enough of a well-oiled machine to make sure it's always coming out at the right time of the year so that because you want to plan your releases throughout the whole year, right? You want to have your revenue throughout all four
Yeah.
quarters or whatever. So you don't want to have two big releases in March and then the next one is in September because then like what are you going to market for the next 5 months?
I feel like you used to see the biggest releases at the total end of the year, like the Decembers. But another reason for that, you don't need it, is because everything's digital now, and you don't need that hype of people sitting around the corner at the local game store, at the GameStop, or at the Walmart. It's people sitting lining up 2 days early to get the new Breath of the Wild, to get the new GTA, whatever, because you just download it straight to your gaming system now. So it really doesn't matter when you do it,
Yeah.
because the hype is going to be, whether it's towards the Christmas or towards the holidays, or if it's just in the middle of July, the hype is gonna be exactly the same because people that are gonna line up for it are going to pre-save it no matter what. So it really doesn't
Yeah,
matter when you release all that.
I think some companies still, like, try to hold to it, for, like, their a lot of the award-winning games come out in October and November, right? Because 'Cause you're gonna get the award nominations and stuff bump at the end of the year, and you're also gonna
Yeah.
get the Black Friday bump, and then the Game Awards bump right before Christmas, so parents can see, what games to buy. So that still is, like, similar to I guess you can kinda compare it to the movies, right? Where the the big blockbuster movies are coming out from, May, June, and July, right? But all the award-winning movies come out in in November and December for
Yeah.
movies because I guess they're just smarter at knowing the proper window to release.
I think it's because they wanna be fresh in the minds, like,
Right.
blockbusters don't need to be fresh in the minds because if they're gonna win an Oscar, they're gonna do it whether no matter when they come out because most of those blockbuster movies are not winning them anyway. So if they have something big enough to win when they win for costume design or their CGI, they're gonna get it whether they come out in the beginning of the year, end of the year, it doesn't matter. They're gonna be in that cycle. Whereas some of these movies, you have to keep the buzz going through the Oscar voting because if you don't, you forget about it. Like some good
Yeah.
movies that come out early, you just kind of forget about them because you're on to the next thing. Especially in this country, we're on to the next thing every single time. So you kind of have to do that if you want to win those awards. But the awards are shams anyway. Although I don't really go to the movies. I'm not someone that can sit still that long. So I don't really go out to the movies. But I have heard it's been very much a resurgence of like original movies out there, rather than superhero movie, illumination film or something along those lines, superhero
Yeah.
movie. There's actual plot movies now.
Yeah, I haven't been able to go to the movies as much in the last year or so, but, like, I have seen that there are a lot more it's a more wide range of movies being put and pushed in the theater, right, than the
Yeah.
last decade or so that we had. Because like, you would have had to have gone out of your way to find one of those sleeper romance or dramas that were not didn't have a superhero in it back in the day, but now there are big movies that are getting their proper promotion that are not from the big blockbuster teams.
When a long time ago, we went to the movies. I don't remember what movie we went to go see. I want to say it was like The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or something like that. But this might not line up. I don't remember what movie we went to go see, but we weren't enjoying it in the theater. So we movie hop, and when we were doing it, like we didn't know a movie to go see because we were like, what movie should we hop to? And I remember seeing a really short ad with no context for Fruitvale Station. So we popped into Fruitvale Station. That 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 doesn't happen. I mean, now it's starting to happen more probably. I don't think movie hopping I don't know, does movie hopping still really happen? Like, do they crack down on that? Are people still
I don't
doing it? I
know.
have no idea. We'll have to have a youth on here to kinda talk to them, like, "Hey, do you guys do this still, or what do you do? What do you do at the movies? Do you even go to the movies? Do you use Pirate Bay? Does Pirate Bay still exist? 1, 2, 3 movies? None of that stuff? I don't know." Anyway, great decision, 'cause Fruitvale Station's an
Oh,
amazing
yeah.
movie.
You introduced
Very,
me to
very
that
into
one,
movie.
yeah.
First, Michael B. Jordan movie, first Coogler movie, all that good stuff. Very good movie. But all that to say, it became a lot more superhero movies. So, like, if you were going to there was no movie hopping because what are you gonna hop to? You're gonna go from, Iron Man to Batman? Like, probably not. So and then COVID shut everything down.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the movies kinda left, and now people are starting to come back. Also, movie tickets when we were going were dirt, and now they're like $25 a ticket.
Yeah,
I know
it's
AMC
unbelievable.
right after COVID, I think it was like $40 a ticket because they were just losing so much money. It's like, that's not how you make the money back. Like, that's gonna discourage people from going. Popcorn's $10, water's 5. Like, if I'm gonna spend $100, I'll go to a ball game. I'm not gonna go see a movie that I'll see in about 60 days. That's the usual runtime, right?
Usually, yeah.
60 days or 90 days. Like 3 months, I could just go watch the movie. I can't see the ball game again, like, and you're not reliving the same feeling where I could watch a movie 1,000 times and relive the same feeling kind of. I guess you could do that with sports a little bit, but yeah, just they got too expensive. And I don't sit still well. So
Well,
I have to move.
it's also the streaming services too that are really killing stuff, right? Because like, there are some movies that are literally on their streaming platform as they're in theaters too, which is just something that
Yeah.
is unheard of, but that now commonly happens. And think about some of these big, Netflix or Amazon movies that they take over and everybody's watching them, where back in the day that would have taken over the theater. Like, it still would have been a big movie, but now people don't have to leave their house and they can pause it and have it on in the background or whatever. Like, it still would have been a success, but it doesn't feel as culturally significant because people didn't actually invest their time and effort into seeing that experience.
Well, that in movies and TV shows that are made for streaming are literally being made for you to have to pay attention. Like, they're being
Yeah.
made for you to scroll on your phone, where they're, like, actually giving you plot points back as people enter rooms. Like, someone will come in the room, like, "Joe, what are you doing here?" It's like, "Well, I heard that you needed this for this, this, and this, and you're about to do this." And it's like, it
Yeah.
sounds funny saying it like that, but the next time you actually pay attention, that's really what's happening in, like, a lot of new TV shows that are straight to streaming, a lot of movies that are straight to streaming, because they know you're scrolling on your phone, so they wanna keep reminding you of what's going on, and it kinda ruins the viewing experience if you're trying to actually view that entity or something like that. So,
Yeah.
um, going back to stream really quick, I'm gonna kind of flip topics. What is your opinion with the Netflix and Warner Brothers and stuff? We've talked about it a couple times on this podcast, but you haven't been on with the $83 billion bid. But they
I
won't let you
think
share your password, but they have
right.
$83 billion to spend on Warner Brothers.
I think this is a really
Monopoly?
weird, right. So that's what I want to say. When I was a kid, back in my day, Chris, I feel like I keep bringing it back to back in my day. Back in my
That's what we
day,
do here.
I was taught through my local education system that the government had enacted, you know, anti-monopoly, trust laws and things like that, because there are all these bad things that happened in the past with all the big guy, the big fish buying out all the little fish, and they controlled everything. So it was like a very core American economic value that monopolies were bad for the free market. And even from third grade on, I have understood that monopolies are bad for the free market. Yet here we are every other year, two companies from the same economic area, whether it's streaming or whether it's some food thing or whether it's some
Well,
other,
yeah,
conglomerate
Time
that's in
Warner and NBC or
right.
whatever it was,
They're
or
all
yeah.
being allowed to join when clearly they shouldn't be. So I think it's very frustrating because competition breeds creativity, right? If you weren't able to just buy out your competition, you would have to be more creative. You'd have to offer better deals on your streaming service than other people to incentivize them to buy yours, right? So yeah, I think ugh, it's frustrating how media seems to be left out of these antitrust laws compared to other corporations and other fields of business for some reason, when it shouldn't, because they're all profit driven the same way as a McDonald's is, right? Like, McDonald's wouldn't be
Yeah.
allowed to buy Burger King, right? Because that's your competition. So why can Netflix buy all these companies?
And then the whole thing with Paramount putting in over $100 billion bid to try. This is the thing I said in the last podcast. Sorry if you've listened to this before, but I'm repeating it specifically for Joe here. The thing about them spending billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars on you're paying for like two properties. You're paying for Harry Potter and you're paying for DC,
Yeah.
because everything else you're just going to retread. Here's an example. We talked about it earlier. 3 of the 4 Cartoon Network new shows that are coming out are all just retreads. They're bringing back regular show. They're bringing back Adventure Time. They're bringing back Scooby Doo, and that's what they've kind of been doing already. Again, talked about in the last podcast. Like, everyone likes to say, like, HBO is so successful. Like, they bought it for their app, blah blah blah. HBO Max rebranded like 6 times because they could not get it going. Like,
Yeah.
yes, HBO is very successful, but their app is not. Like, that was one of the biggest reasons they had to sell the first time. No, this isn't the first time Warner Brothers went up for sale.
Yeah.
But they figured it out and they cut, a bunch of movies, including which one was it? The Batman one, or
There was a
Catwoman,
Batman
something
one
like
or
that.
a Catwoman or
The
something like that.
Batgirl or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It had
they
Brendan
completely scrapped
Fraser in
that
it.
one. They completely scrapped the Wile E. Coyote movie. Like they scrapped them and then took the tax from it and paid off their debts and was able to stay afloat. But the reason they went, and it's the same reason with Disney. Disney was in the same boat with Disney Plus, which is why they combined with Hulu and all that to make one big giant one. Like it's not now Disney Plus with Hulu. They're all going to be on the same app now, and ESPN is going to be on that app
Yeah.
because they did all this because streaming loses money.
And
Like,
when
that's
it
why there's
started, it was $7 a month. And now,
yes,
if you want if you want to get the same products that they've always given you, that always had a really buggy app and all these problems and hard to search and hard to navigate, now it's over $30 a month for what they gave you for $7 a month for a worse
because they're
experience.
combining everything and they're raising the prices because it hasn't worked. I think the thing that has to be a class action lawsuit that it never will is the fact they could charge you for the service with ads. It's
Yep.
literally double dipping.
Yep.
Like, the whole reason you get the service paid is to get rid of the ads. If you have the ads, you're getting paid from advertisements, so I shouldn't also be paying. But then like, well, if you pay $5 more, we'll just get rid of the ads. No, that's not right. Like either you shouldn't have them at all if I pay for it, or I'll just watch it for free with the ads because I don't care about the ads, which isn't necessarily always true. Like YouTube, I have premium because I can't stand ads on YouTube. Completely different story. Whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that always I'm like, that has to be something, right? Like there has to
Well,
be
yeah, and at
something
least
there.
YouTube is different, right? Because it's user-generated content that you're selecting to watch, where
Yeah,
Netflix or Hulu or ESPN or Disney are presenting you things
with
to
stuff.
watch. So it's not it's not the same thing. So that's
Well,
why I
I am
understand
now
why
being
paying for YouTube.
presented on YouTube a ton of Alvin and the Chipmunks because I looked it up once. Actually, funny enough, I looked up the theme song. I looked up one other thing. Have not been on my For You page or whatever it's called, recommended page
Yeah.
at all. No Alvin and the Chipmunks. But YouTube does definitely fall victim to that, where you watch somebody one time
One
for 5
time.
seconds and all their videos pop up and you're like, I don't want to watch any of these. I saw something I thought was interesting. I watched it for 30 seconds. I'm like, actually, this isn't interesting. Clicked off of it and I won't stop showing me this person's videos. Like, what are we doing here? But that's their problem. But I enjoy YouTube. I basically only watch YouTube. So like when you said $30 for Hulu, I didn't really even know that because I
And
don't use Hulu.
I don't get to watch sports as much now because I used to pay for ESPN and Disney and everything, but now because of the ESPN portion of it, they've bumped it up to over $30, and they're like,
That's
"No,
so
I'm
The
not."
worst part
Like,
is ESPN is like getting rid of a lot of their sports. Like
yeah,
they're not even keeping a lot of the sports on there, but they're going to charge more because they're the worldwide leader in sports. But their two sports they have is football, one time a week
yep.
in the WNBA, and then some college sports. They don't even own all college football. I don't think they own all college basketball either because they
They
don't
do
own
have
any of the
hockey
bracket.
too.
That's right, they did
There's
buy
a lot of
hockey,
stuff
and
on
that was on
hockey
ESPN Plus.
on
They
ESPN
had the
Plus,
whole
yeah.
league on ESPN Plus.
So listen, if you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, you better shell out those $30, you know?
But I think it's better, like, for personally, I have the NBA package because I like to watch the Orlando Magic. Like, I watch almost every single game, just like I have the MLB package, so I can watch the Yankees. I watch them every single game except for when they decide to play in Houston or they decide to play in Dallas because I can't watch either of those. But I watch every single game. I do the same thing with the Orlando Magic. The cool thing about that is, like, I could flip over, Magic game ends at 10:45 at night. I don't have anything the next day. I can now flip over and watch Jokic, like,
Yeah.
watch him do his thing. I could watch the best part, I'll tell you, MLB figure this out because the NBA, you pay for the package. They only really offer the premium now. They used to have team and light and all that. They basically offer it's 150 for the season. You get what you get. But you get to see everything that happens. They show you all the timeouts. They show you the halftime show. They show you everything. MLB should be doing the same thing. Show us everything. If I'm paying for the package, I want to see the pitcher warming up. I don't care if you sit on a wide shot of the pitcher warming up. I know much doesn't happen. Show the jumbotron. Show the little cap game. Make me feel like I'm part of it. That's the whole point
What
of getting the
subway
premium
train's gonna win
package.
the race?
Which
Yeah.
subway train's gonna win? Like, YMCA. I think I went to a Yankee game a year or two ago, and they did not do the YMCA. I was pretty disappointed.
I would ask for a refund.
Yeah, you should. Probably lost the game too. Anyway, but I want to see all that stuff. I don't even need ESPN or anything like that because I just get these individual ones now, and you can watch like that. Or there's sometimes some other sites that show it. I don't use any of them.
Yeah,
None of them.
unfamiliar.
But
That's what you're referring
I've
to.
heard through the grapevine.
So I've
There's
been
some
told.
sites that have been around since my freshman year of college that you can watch sports on without needing all the packages. I feel like you don't hear as much about like illegal streaming of movies and stuff, which is crazy because of how expensive streaming has become. Like people will just be like, "Yeah, fine, I'll pay the $40 to watch Dumb and Dumber." Like, I feel like that you don't hear as much about like Pirate Bay.
I think it might be attached, to a general less interested movie, audience than it used to be, right? Because the only reason you would pirate something is because you wanted it. And so I think because of how the last decade has been dominated by superhero movies and then COVID, and
It's
how
true.
that affected the movie theaters, there's less of a demand to pirate it because less people are interested in consuming it.
I think the first Avengers movie, maybe it was the second one. One of them I definitely watched online for free because I couldn't get out to the theater. I was living in Boston. I was working like 6 jobs. So I sat there on my little tablet and watched. I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't
On
one of
the
the
big
Avengers. One of those
screen.
Marvel on the big screen. Yeah, it was like this. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was there. I heard all the cheers. So I started cheering myself because some guy with a camcorder just recording it. You can use your phone, but this man has a camcorder, a taped camcorder for some reason. Don't understand that. I even get excited like when they announce these superhero movies anymore. I don't even feel like I care
If
that much
it's,
anymore.
I mean, if it's not Spider-Man, I literally could not care less at this point.
I'm the same boat.
Marvel is just, it just got too wide, just got too many things to follow. I think some of the movies that I have watched and TV shows that I watched, they're still fine and still entertaining, but is not as can't miss as of a product as it used to be. So
They should have just reset.
if it's not,
They
I
should
don't
have
even
just
care
reset.
about. I mean, I don't even like the resetting stuff because like it feels cheap. Like you don't have like I wish the people in charge were better at being creative than hitting the blip and resetting the universe and reintroducing Tony Stark as a new guy and reintroducing, Spider-Man or whatever. Like I would like to hope that creative minds could make a better solution, but it doesn't appear as if that's true.
I I think I didn't think they were gonna be able to pull it off because all the contracts were ending. They weren't gonna resign most of them, which they didn't. And that was like their biggest draws. They weren't able to do. Like luckily they were able to get
Yeah.
Fantastic Four. I still haven't seen Fantastic Four, by
I
the way.
refuse. Literally,
Like
RDJ made such bold statements that he was never doing a superhero movie again. He needed to stop. He needed to be done with Iron Man. He just did too much of his career and he had to move on. And then he takes another paycheck to to be Doctor Doom. Like it was just
but
so insulting.
is he even in that movie, Fantastic Four?
Fantastic
I know he's
Four.
gonna be there, but is he
Yeah.
in that movie?
He was
I know
at
he's
the,
gonna end up in it, but he was he was there for the Doomsday announcement.
I know, but I'm saying in general, the concept of him being so done, him and Chris Evans and all these actors,
I
they're
agree.
too good for superhero movies now. They're too done with those characters. They don't need it anymore. But then they come and give you the paycheck, and then now, oh yeah, I'm right back on. But they had to write your characters out of the story because you refuse to ever play the character again. But then you're going to take another paycheck to come back in and completely derail what they were forced to set up because of the pressure that you put on them as a studio. Like, yeah, I'm just
Yeah,
very
I
upset.
mean the way that it's gone though, they could have just like, oh, actually, I want to come back and play a character. Tony Stark could have just come back. Like the way that they've done things, Tony Stark it is at the end of the day, It is comic books. No one except for Uncle Ben's ever dead, and that's a funny statement because Uncle Ben is alive in some of the alternate universes for Spider-Man. So he's not even always dead. He's alive sometimes. Yeah, he is Spider-Man at one time. So that they could have just brought him back if they wanted. The reason I said they should just hit the reset button is because it was gonna be hard to sustain the success they had for 10 years. They were very successful for 10 years. We're talking comic books here. It doesn't have to be a continuous story for 40 years. You can that's the end of the Endgame saga, whatever you wanna say. Cut. That's it. They won. Comic book's over. It's closed. What's the next one we wanna go to? Like, what's the next story we wanna tell? I agree. If they were able to keep it up and keep the heroes in it and, like, not have to change everything, make Sam Wilson Captain America instead of it just being Captain America, not kill off Iron Man, who wasn't very popular, but then had the movies, and he's the most popular one now. Like, now he's gone. Like I said, they had the Fantastic Four now. They're gonna have X-Men. Tom Holland came back. He's another one that said he didn't want to play Spider-Man anymore. If
Yeah.
you remember that. He was like, after the last movie, I don't
but
want
I'll
to do
take
it.
the check, right?
But I'll take the check. He's back on set getting concussions. Like, so at least they have those heroes, but now you're gonna be mixing them with people like no one cares about. And we talked about this probably 2 years ago on this podcast. Like, and I talked about it with Andy Smith as well, and Matt Props, the comic book artist. When you had these C-list, D-list, even low B-list people, how are you supposed to market that? Well, we have this guy, but Spider-Man shows up. That's how
Yep.
these do in the comic books. But now you're saying they're going to form an Avengers type team with like
With a backup squad.
with 5 people no one even cares about, and Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. Like, Doctor Strange is another one. Like, he wasn't as big of a character until the movies. A lot of those characters were not big until the movies. Now, you may know this, but some of the listeners don't. They sold off all the big characters.
Yeah.
All of them were gone. Captain America was I would say low A, if not high B, somewhere in there. Very high end character from Marvel. But it was Spider-Man, it was a Fantastic Four, it was Doctor Doom,
Hulk.
it was the X-Men, it was Wolverine, it was the Hulk. Like, those were the characters. If you went to Marvel's Adventure Land and Universal in like 1998, the characters that came out on the quads, those were the ones that everyone loved. And I think Captain America was on there. No one else was on there. None of these other characters were on there. Occasionally, you might see a Thor, but you're not seeing Iron Man. People did not like Iron Man until the
You
movie.
didn't see Vision walking around?
You didn't see Vision. You didn't see any of them. You saw Spider-Man. You saw Wolverine. They were leading the pack because
You didn't see the Thunderbolts taking any pictures?
You did. You did. But they were in the back.
Yeah.
They were in the back. They were the ones that are like standing there like, hey, we're the Thunderbolts. You don't want a picture with us? And like, do I have to do it to get Spider-Man? Like, yeah. Yeah, you got to take a picture with all of us and you lead your way into Spider-Man. So, yeah, anyway. That's why and they built those characters into something, and that's why they felt like they could do it again. But like, at least Thor and Captain America and Iron Man, they weren't like C and lower. They were high characters, but they weren't S tier characters that everybody loved. And they have some of those now, but you're just combining them with people no one's ever heard of.
Well, the only thing that was a clear success from a C tier to S tier character were the Guardians, right? Compared to
Yeah.
all the other movies and characters they have tried to lift up. And you can say Deadpool, but he was kind of his own thing. I think by the time the
He was
Deadpool
pretty
were
popular
made,
by the
he was
movies.
very
Yeah.
popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing that was
He
clearly
picked up steam in the
zero to hero
2000s for sure.
was
Yeah.
the Guardian movies.
Yeah. Where would you what tier would you have put Iron Man on before the movies?
I would say
We were young, by the way, right?
Yeah,
like we were pretty
from a
young when this
comics fan,
happened.
Iron Man was very popular because he was the leader of the Avengers. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. The Avengers kind of turned him around because he was not even B tier before he was the Avengers guy because he was the drunk trash can.
Yeah.
That's what he was, like, the drunk trash can. Then
So I think
like
from in the general
crazy storyline
in the general world, right? Like the cliche, if you ask your mom, do they know who this person is, right? More people would know Captain America than they would know Iron Man.
Yeah, 100%. I think they would know Thor more than they would know Iron Man before the movies. Thor was
Potentially,
at least
yeah.
marketed from Marvel pretty highly because he was like he was the comic book artist's favorite character. Like they loved him as a character. He was not a created like Spider-Man was created from the brain. Like Thor is a Nordic god. He is
Yeah.
in ancient tales kind of thing, and a lot of people really liked him in that.
The
But
only one that ever came close in cultural significance pre-MCU to Spider-Man would have been the Hulk from the
yeah,
'70s and '80s and all the different things in video games and what like most people in the world, if you walked around and showed the big green guy, they would know that that was the Hulk.
yeah, yeah, I
So
agree.
that was
I
probably the
I always
second
thought
biggest superhero besides Spider-Man.
I always thought that the top 3 were Hulk, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. Wolverine was just known by everybody, and everybody loved Wolverine. But the X-Men themselves, like, they were very especially because of the show. The show comes out, the cartoon just skyrocket in popularity because of that. But, yeah, the most of those guys, they didn't get the TV shows, they didn't get the straight to cardboard box movies or anything like that in the '70s and '60s. They were just not really known. But yeah, if you had to think about it, just I question just came from it. If you had to think about it, how many Marvel characters would be in the top 5 of superheroes overall?
I think that's also relevant to when we're asking, right? Because of the MCU's influence now. I think the clear cut, like, because I know most people will say the Mount Rushmore of superhero characters
Yeah, that's good. That's 4. Let's
they're
do that.
DC's big three and Spider-Man, right? It's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man. Yeah.
And if you ask this pre-MCU, that fifth one would have been the Hulk. But I think
Well,
it's just because of the movies and everything, it might be like a tied for fifth between Captain America and Iron Man. You kind of pick your
yeah.
pick your choice there of who is potentially more popular.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I think they both
it's
now
pretty close.
surpassed any of the X-Men. Because X-Men's had kind of a weird last decade plus, right? If you ask in the
I think
'90s, sure Wolverine was more, but
Wolverine would
today
be up there. And even in
Iron
the
Man
early
and Captain America
2000s, you might see
are both higher.
Wolverine because he had the movies, like they had the X-Men movies, and he had his own movie and stuff like that. You'll probably see that resurgence again because they're gonna be back in the movies. He was also in the Deadpool movie, and he's getting his own video game.
Yeah.
Like, you might see that resurgence coming up there soon as well. Well, we went from, our holiday shows, basically talked about superheroes the
There
entire
you go.
time, but
That's what we do.
it's all good. We didn't really talk about superheroes. We talked about why we're not gonna go see any of the movies when they come
Except
out,
for
where
Spider-Man.
except for Spider-Man.
I'll
I
be
will see
sat
anything
day,
Spider-Man.
evening one of every Spider-Man movie.
And you enjoy Tom Holland still as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Like,
against
you
my
still
better
like him there?
judgment. No, I'm just saying. No, yeah, I think he's fine. I think he's the Goldilocks, right? That's what most people say. Is that Toby was the best Peter, Andrew was the best Spider-Man, and Tom
Mhm.
Holland is the middle ground between the two.
Yeah, he's good at both. He's good at doing both. Was it the last one? Was the last one the one with all of them?
Yeah, No Way Home.
Okay, it must have been one of them before that. There was one where his quips were good and stuff. Like, I liked him more in the role than I think it was 2 is where he kinda goes off of Spider-Man a little bit. Tom Holland's it might have been the first one where he's, like, very much more like Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm excited that he's back. I just like consistency at the role. Like, just keep the same person. I don't even care if they wanted to go back to Andrew Garfield and just make him a bunch of Spider-Man movies. Just keep some consistency going. Like, just keep
yeah.
it the same person
I
for
was a
more
big
than 3
fan of
movies.
the Amazing Spider-Man universe. I think their big flaw was they were trying to make an MCU from
Yeah,
Sony or whatever with the Amazing Spider-Man verse, and instead of making the second movie what it should have been, and they had Gwen and the significance of that story, but while they were making that movie, they were trying to set up a third and fourth film at the exact same time without even sticking
and
the landing
spinoffs.
on
Yeah,
the
and
second one.
spinoffs.
But I
I
was
di
a massive fan of the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
I think I enjoyed the first one, but, I didn't enjoy the second one because we got exactly what you're saying, too much was going on at once.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't, deal with it. Alright, so before we wrap up, holiday season, what game are you asking for? or what game are you playing? I was gonna say game are you asking for, but we just spent the entire 30 minutes talking about how nothing really comes out of Christmas. So like Pokemon already came out. So what are you playing during the holiday season?
Well, if Santa is listening, which I know he's a big fan of
He
the
is.
pod, I've heard
He's a
it.
big fan. Calls in
Yeah,
every week.
the latest Metroid game came out at the beginning of December, Metroid Prime 4. And
Mhm.
for those who don't know, I'm a big Metroid fan from the 2Ds and the games and everything. And I think, Samus is just like the one of the coolest characters ever. And especially I think Super Metroid is one of the greatest games of all time. And it still holds up way better now than most, if any, other games made in 1994. Like you can still play Super Metroid now, and maybe it's a little clunkier than you're used to a modern Metroidvania game having, but like it's still gameplay wise and thematic and narrative and exploration wise still holds up really well. So I think eventually I'm gonna wait right now because I'm focusing on Pokemon and some other things. But eventually I'm gonna tear into Metroid Prime 4.
Nice. I'm not get I'll get the new Pokemon because then you get your wish of the newer Pokemon coming
Thank you.
out. But yeah, I think I said in the beginning, I've just been playing Animal Crossing, Odyssey, just
Do you have the
some
big
of the classics
expansion pack for Animal Crossing?
for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
I don't
I
if you
feel
have
like
to
you
buy it,
should. I
no.
feel like
If
you
you have to
should.
buy it, I haven't gotten it. I have
It's
the
not so
DLCs
it's not
from the
like a
first one.
DLC of Animal Crossing. It's how there's the Nintendo Switch Online service or whatever,
Yeah, yeah, I
right?
have all that. Yeah,
So
it's
there's
all
the
that's all free.
So right, but there's an additional service of the Nintendo Switch Online. Like there's the baseline of $20 a year or whatever it is. There's a
Mhm.
tier up from that, which is, I don't know, let's say $50 a year. I have no idea what the actual cost is. And there are a whole bunch of exclusive additions for a lot of games, not just Animal Crossing, but that are all like expansion NSO based things. I would just say look into it to
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I think I have that.
Switch online system you have, because if you do have that additional one, then you do have like it's like additional islands and a lot of extra cosmetics and a lot of different gameplay things. And so I think you should look into that.
I know they have one for the Switch 2, which I have the Switch 2. I know they have one of it's like the Switch 2 edition, which you have to purchase. So I was like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna purchase that. But if it's the one that come down like downloaded for free from your subscription, I have that subscription. And I think that it's the more expensive one. And I think I have it because you can add other people to it, like a family
The
membership.
family, yeah, and that's
And
the
I
one that
have
you get all the old games like the
yeah, yeah.
SNES,
And
N64.
I play the original Strikers on there pretty consistently. That is they have GameCube, which is awesome, but they have
Yeah.
like 3 games. Like
Well,
because they wanna just report them all. They don't wanna
right.
give them to you for free.
You wanna know what I was locked in on the other day when I came home? We set up the old GameCube, and I
Yeah.
was going off on a little backyard football.
Backyard football. Well, now you don't even have to have the old GameCube anymore. They're re-releasing those like
But it's the
crazy.
feel. It's the feel, you know? Playing on the
My
with that controller.
my buddy, a friend of the show, Mad Props guest, Jordan Robles, is in Major League Wiffle Ball and is a partner of Backyard Sports.
Nice.
So he gets like all this exclusive stuff. I think he got drawn into the game or drawn to an extension or something like that because all of the Wiffle Ball League got into that. And I was just sitting there like, that's kind of crazy. Like, he's like a partner of Backyard Sports, like something you played a lot but haven't thought about. And now that you think about them because they start releasing more games. And of course, like, why wouldn't you go for the wiffle ball crowd? Like
Yeah.
that's a really good option. Just go for that wiffle ball crowd. But backyard, that's a good choice. Anytime I put the GameCube in, it's either the original Mario baseball, which Nintendo, if you're listening, let's go.
We've been
We don't need
waiting
any more
years.
tennis.
Yeah.
I don't need any more tennis. Tennis we get it. You can't make them like you used to. We don't need it anymore. Get rid of it. Bye bye. Let's get some baseball going. They already play it online. They figured out a way. The worst part is, and we already know that if they make the baseball game, you're gonna have like 9 characters. So
Yeah.
Mario will be playing Mario somehow.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah, your
it'll
team's gonna have
actually
6 different colored Shy Guys to fill
that's
out
what I
your
was gonna
roster.
say. It's gonna
Yeah.
be Mario and Luigi and a bunch of Shy Guys or Toads. And you're like, all right, what are the second game roster had like 70 people, and you're gonna stick us with 8 of the same freaking people like you always do.
Dude,
And
they gotta bring back your boy, the Lou Gehrig of Mario Sluggers, Toadsworth, you remember?
Toadsworth is a boss,
That
dude.
was
He's
your
so
dude,
good.
his on base percentage was unbelievable
High.
in that run.
Like Derek Jeter, just opposite field every single time, right between second and first every single time.
He was Mr. Consistent in that lineup.
Was Mr. Consistent. Was Mr. I don't really stream or anything like that. That's the game I have the most fun streaming because it's just so much
it's
fun
the
to
best.
play. I should bring it back one day when I get some time. Back to streaming Mario Baseball. But that's that or Double Dash are the only two I'm putting in there. Double Dash is still my favorite Mario Kart game. I love Double Dash.
I do when we set the GameCube up, I do play Mario Sunshine too because that's my favorite 3D Mario. So
Yeah, same. Isn't it funny? Like same with me, and it's because it's like our childhood. I remember when I first got my GameCube; it was one of the first games I had. I still have that original disc from like 2002 or whatever of Mario
nice.
Sunshine. Like exactly what you're saying. Like that's my favorite as well. But when you talk to people, everyone's like, "Well, that was a mess, and that was this, and that was that." And it's like some of the levels I do agree are just super repetitive and not really creative, especially when you go play a game like Odyssey. Now we're talking 20-year difference or 15-year difference, whatever. Obviously, they're
Yeah.
gonna have a little bit better of an idea of what they're doing. But you know, the consistency, Galaxy 64. I love Sunshine. I was glad. I know it's a little different, but I was happy when they ported it into the three. What is that? Not All Stars, but the Legends
The
edition or whatever.
3D, whatever it was, yeah.
Because then you don't have to set up the GameCube every single time, even though there are some differences and some stuff changed. Like it still feels the same. So
Yeah,
I
it
enjoy
gets the
having
job
it
done.
there. I think I've had that, and I played 64 on it, and I played Sunshine on it. I don't think I played Galaxy on it once on that three game thing. I think I played the other two like 100 times, and I haven't even touched Galaxy. Crazy.
Galaxy is tough, yeah, because it's such a fantastic game, and it is like I think of all the 3D Marios, it is the most. It is the 3D Mario that you appreciate and recognize the game design the most as you're playing.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like while you're
Beautifully
on
done.
whichever star, you're like, wow, this is a really well executed level as I'm playing it more than when I'm playing Sunshine or 64 or Odyssey. But it's not the most fun to me. Like I would put Odyssey and Sunshine ahead of the Mario Galaxy games on my fun-o-meter. You know?
Same. I just love whatever you want to say about the levels of Sunshine, which again, we're talking about a game from 2002, like one of the first real 3D games other than 64. Like this is the first time they were able to add so much more to it because of the capabilities from the 64 and stuff like that. But I just felt like it was more of a sandbox. Like you get to have more fun. You get to play around a little more than some of these other ones where they are like Odyssey. Odyssey to me is so great because it has that visual stunningness of Galaxy. But I was just playing it before this podcast. Like it does have that sandbox feel. Like you do feel like you can kind of run around and play. And you go to this random corner and you just did this awesome jump. You did something like no one else could do this. This was crazy. And there's a moon there. They expected you to do that. Like they expected you to do that crazy jump at some point because there's a moon up there. So I really enjoy that part of it. Plus having was it like 1,000 moons in the game is
I think
also
amazing.
amazing.
Is it
999
1038 in total or something? I forget what the last one is.
Oh yeah, because did they add some or was it?
No, I think that was always what it was. It was just
$9.99
they didn't unlock
to get
until afterward. Yeah,
yeah, we get to 999 and then they unlock and there's like 30 more to go.
And then you had that.
Like
I mean, still to this day, one of the most difficult challenges I ever did was that final star. I don't know if you did it, where it's like
I know what you're talking about.
It's like a 25-minute gauntlet to have to get through without dying, like to get that. I said a lot of bad words that day. but I made
You
it
get to the
through.
thank you at the end. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're
Yep.
the electric and you try to do the shake and your like heart stops, even though you know you're gonna make it to the next one without having to do the whole thing.
Yeah.
But you're like, what happens if he just pops off on this? I have to go all the way back to the beginning. Should I be doing this? Should I just take the safe route? I was like, I didn't get here taking the safe route. I got here taking risks.
That's right.
And I want to jump from one electrical cord to the other without having to go through all the electrical cords. Save myself a couple minutes here. But you always have that like, oh God, did I just screw everything up? But that's what I really love about Odyssey. It's just a big sandbox and there's so much to do and so much fun you can have. And it does when I play it, I do feel more like I'm playing Sunshine than
Yeah.
when I'm playing Galaxy or something like that. And I'll probably go play it again now that we're talking about it. I'm very excited.
Dude, I used to speedrun Mario Odyssey back in the day. I absolutely love the game. Maybe I'll have to.
He's telling me to
touch
do
up
it. He's
again.
telling me I should speedrun. I was like, I don't know if I could do that. Like
Well,
I
if you
don't.
can't handle, 5 hours being locked in, like the speedrun's only like, even as
I
a
just
new
told-
person, like I was doing it in like an hour and 20 minutes, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. Imagine how simplified the strategies are now. Like it might only take you an hour and 5 minutes to do the speedrun.
I don't go to the movie theater anymore because I can't sit still. You think I can sit still playing a game for
For
over
an hour,
And
yes. I have enough trust in you that you can sit still for an hour and play
I don't
Mario.
trust myself. I don't trust myself. I'm gonna do my holiday right though. I'm gonna go throw on some cartoons, put on some Mario. I'll put on Sunshine just so I really get brought back to that time.
There you go.
I'm just gonna sit around and play them. That's all I've been longing to do for weeks is just sit down with something playing on the TV like that and just playing like Animal Crossing or Sunshine or Odyssey or anything like that.
And
And I think
listening
I
to
might get
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
and listen to Alvin and the Chipmunks. Listen, if my Spotify has anything to say about it, I will be listening to Alvin and the Chipmunks a lot. It'll go like some hardcore rap song to Alvin and the Chipmunks, just as it should. Because I have a diverse listening taste, unlike you guys out there. I only listen to pop music. No, I listen to Grammy winners, damn it.
I was gonna say you're more pretentious, actually. You only listen to award-winning artists.
I don't listen to Tupac. How many Grammys does he have? 0. I listen to Alvin and the Chipmunks. Award-winning Alvin and the Chipmunks,
That's
I might
right.
add. Well, Joe, thank you for being here. I hope your holidays are great. Where can people find you if they're searching for you? Give your home address and your online address.
Yeah, no, I got you covered. All linked in the description down below. So you can find me mainly on Twitter. That's my main area. I interact with people. It's at Zemanon, Xeminan. That's my gamer tag for everything. So if you see me on any platform, that's what my tag is going to be. And then I do have a podcast that we talked about at the beginning here with my co-host Sierra, where we talk about Pokemon and mainly competitive Pokemon called the OHKO Podcast. So you can find that on YouTube and Spotify as well. We upload every Thursday at noon, except for the weeks that we don't, because sometimes life happens,
Yeah, well, I feel that with this one as well because we upload Fridays, except for when we didn't get around to editing, and now it's going to be Sunday. But Sunday's not good. I work on Sunday. We'll do 2 on next Friday.
Yeah.
2 next Friday for you. A little double whammy.
A
Little double whammy of outdated things that we're saying. I think that doesn't happen anymore because we're promoting it 2 weeks ago and we decided to wait 2 weeks to release. But enjoy your holiday, Joe. Everybody out there, enjoy your holiday. Make sure you follow Sketching Up at Sketching Up Pod on every single social media platform, including Instagram and TikTok. Subscribe to us on YouTube at Sketching Up Podcast. And you can also find us anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple Music. Found out Amazon still rocking and rolling with their podcast at Sketching Up or at Sketching Up Podcast there. You can also follow me at Chris.Schnabel on Instagram or TikTok if you feel that you want to do that. Thank you so much. Enjoy your holidays. Happy holidays from the both of us. And we'll see you next time. Later.